What's up? I'm Leah B. Jackson, and I'm joined by pro gamer Greg Idra-Fields.
Hey, Leah.
Hey. Today, we're going to be walking you through the best way to play as Zeratul in Heroes of the Storm. Ready to jump in?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Okay, so here we are in the try mode as Zeratul. Idra, tell us a little bit about this guy, and then we'll go into his abilities and how to play him effectively.
Zeratul is a stealth assassin. As you can see, he is invisible right now, and he's probably the purest burst assassin in the game. He does absurd amounts of damage very, very quickly, and he wants to get in, kill a hero, and get out immediately, because he is also very, very squishy. That's the trade-off you get for his insanely high burst damage. So he is fantastic at picking off people one-on-one in the jungle early game, and then in team fights he gets in, kills high-priority targets, and hopefully gets out. That's the hard part of playing him, is the getting out. And so his passive is just that invisibility. When he has not given or received any damage for 2 seconds, he goes invisible. However, there is still a slight blur on the map, and if you get hit by any AoE effects, take any damage, it will reveal you, so be careful about that. As for his abilities, his Q is Cleave, and that's a very simple, just AoE around you. You spin like that, you do a bunch of damage. It's not to be underestimated. Use that on cooldown. It applies quite a bit of damage at all stages of the game, so just use that on top of your auto attacks. Your second ability is Singularity Spike, and that's basically a bomb. It is a skill shot, so you have to make sure you hit them. And I did not actually hit him there. And what it's going to do is, if you would get out of the creep lane. There we go, that hit him. And you see a little green mark on him. And it waits for 1 second, and then after that 1 second it explodes. It does a decent amount of damage to him, but the bigger thing is it actually does a 40% slow for 3 seconds. And as a damage dealer, you're always going to want to stay on top of your target and continue to do damage, so that slow is going to allow you to stick to him. Your third ability is your mobility, your blink, and as you can see, that's a pretty decent range, so that allows you to get in and out of dangerous situations. You can use it to hop over walls. In this try mode, you're not actually allowed to, but in the real game, you can jump around the jungle, jump over bushes, and Malfurion actually has killed him, so I can't demonstrate anything, but as you can see, it's just an instantaneous blink, and that can happen whether you're taking damage. You can't do it if you're stunned or silenced, but that's the only thing that prevents it, so that's a great way to get in and out of battle. And blink on him. Does no damage, but you can do that to get her up next to him and start doing damage. And the ultimate that we will be looking at here is Shadow Assault, and that gives you a bit of lifesteal, which, given how much damage you do, is pretty noticeable. It also gives you a bonus attack speed, which increases your DPS, but that's not too huge. But the biggest part of it is it actually turns your auto attacks into charges. So here we're going to activate it, and then, as you can see, you just immediately jump to them just on auto attacking. And so, as I said, you want to stick to your opponent, you want to be able to do a lot of damage to him. That's the best way to do it. It works very, very well with his kit.
Awesome. Well, now let's take a look at his talents and see, which ones that we should get in order to play him effectively. Okay, so here's Zeratul's talents. Which ones do you think that we should get in order to play him the best?
Well, with Zeratul, as I said, he's a burst assassin. Everything with him has to be front-loaded damage. You have 0 sustain, 0 survivability. It's not worth it to try and build that into your hero. All you want to do is kill people as fast as possible. So, for level 1, we're going to take Path of the Assassin. That's going to give you a little bit extra bonus damage, and it is only plus 50 at level 25, as for every other hero. However, he has a lot of percentage bonus increases on his auto attacks, so that 50% will actually translate to much more once all those have been applied. Greater Cleave is the one thing that some other people get that increases the radius of your Q AoE attack. However, you are a single target hero, and it's pretty easy to hit a single target with the normal Cleave, so this is really just completely unnecessary. You're not a team fighter, you're not going to be killing a lot of people, there's no reason to even bother with that. At level 4, I generally get Focus Attack. This is a bit different. Focus Attack actually got buffed in one of the recent alpha patches. Now it gives you an additional 50% damage every 5 seconds. And again, front-loaded damage. You're only going to be auto-attacking 2 or 3 times before you kill them, ideally. So buffing that one auto-attack is a very big deal. Lifesteal, that's sustain. You're not going to be in a fight long enough to actually get any kind of sustain. And you're not tanky enough to sit around and take damage while you give damage, so you don't really want to be life-stealing. You just want to kill them and get out. And these are 2 upgrades to your Singularity Spike. They're really not that big a deal. You need to hit the bomb once, use that to slow them so you can catch up to them, and again, kill them and get out. That's just your entire focus with him.
Alright.
At level 7, your Tier 3 talents, you have a couple of viable options. Assassin's Blade is pretty popular. It gives you 25% bonus attack damage 5 seconds after breaking Cloak. And that would be fantastic, but the thing is, it's at the same tier as Searing Attacks, which you activate to give you 50% bonus for 5 seconds, which is twice as much, which is much better. The only thing is the attacks cost mana, but Zeratul doesn't really have mana problems. You can afford to spend that on the attacks, and the bonus damage is just kind of absurd. The other options here are defensive, first aid, block. Again, you don't want to be taking damage. If you're taking damage, if you're locked down, you're probably going to die. So it's not really worth worrying about that too much.
How about his ultimate?
Yeah, your heroic abilities, you have two interesting ones. Pretty much everyone gets Shadow Assault. It is the better thing. The attack speed is okay. You're not really a DPS hero. Attack speed matters more there. You're much more focused on your attack damage. So that's nice, but not great. Again, lifesteal, nice, but not great. But the big thing is your basic attack charges the enemy. And that allows you to just stay close to them, and it allows you to continue dealing damage, and it allows you to kill them and then get out, which, again, that's always the focus of Zeratul. Void Prison is a bit underrated, I think. If you can use it to isolate members of the team and then kill others, that's pretty useful. It's a high utility spell. The problem is people can actually run into it after it's been cast and gain invulnerability, and you can't waste any time. Sim, again, in and out. So everything is very time focused, and you can't mess with that. I think in the future that will get a buff, and that might be worth considering then, but for the time being, Shadow Assault's definitely the go-to. As always, with damage dealers, level 13 is a pretty versatile tier. You have Giant Killer. That's available to pretty much everyone at level 13, and against tanky heroes, that's the absolute go-to. It's pretty good against everyone, but against anyone with a high HP pool, you'll get so much damage out of that. It's just very hard to pass up. That's my usual go-to. That's usually what I'll get. The other two worth considering here are Wormhole and Vorpal Blade. Vorpal Blade is a really cool ability that allows you to automatically jump to the last target you attacked within 3 seconds. So that's great for sticking to people. However, you already have other abilities that allow you to do that, so it's a bit iffy. It's just a little bit of additional killing power. And then Wormhole is another cool ability that allows you to, within 3 seconds of blinking, you activate it again, and that actually transports you back to where you originally blinked from. And so that's really good if they have a single target that you know you can blow up, and that's all you have to do. That's your only role. Maybe against a Nova or a Demon Hunter, you can use that to blink in, get the kill, and then get out safely. So that's worth considering. And this tier, you're going to have to keep this in mind when you pick your level 20 talent, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. At level 16, Executioner is the go-to. The tooltip is actually bugged. It gives you 50% bonus damage against anyone who's slowed, rooted, or stunned. And to take full advantage of this, you really want to have a team with a lot of extra crowd control on it, but you do get the slow off of your Singularity Bomb, so that is enough to apply it. So you pretty much always want to get this, but if you are with a 5-stack, if you're with friends, try and make sure you have other people that will allow you to apply this to multiple targets, as it is just a massive bonus damage. Berserk is a distant second at this tier. It gives you additional attack speed and movement speed. Movement speed is nice, and attack speed is nice, but again, you're looking more for damage than attack speed on a Burst Assassin. And then your Storm powers, again, this kind of depends on what you got at the level 13. If you got Giant Killer, you have to get Bolt of the Storm because you need that additional ability. Otherwise, you're going to go in, maybe kill someone, and then die. You really need at least 2 kind of blinks or teleports or some kind of mobility spells on him, just because he is so very squishy and so dependent on that mobility. However, if you got a mobility talent at level 13, then you can go ahead and get the upgraded Nerazim Fury, the upgrade to his ultimate, which gives you much more duration on... It also increases the lifesteal, but again, not that big a deal. But it gives you a longer duration, which allows you to kill more people during the time that you have the charged auto attacks, which is very, very powerful.
Okay, so overall, you sort of want to just kind of focus on one damage-dealing ability, you know, running in, killing someone, and getting out.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So once you have all this front-loaded damage, how does that exactly apply in-game?
You come online pretty early for an assassin. Once you get those first 2 or 3 talents, you can run around and start killing people. You're the best counter jungler in the game. If you see a Gazlo disappear from the map, just run around the camps. You'll probably be able to kill him. Anyone you catch, just throw your bomb at them, hit them with your cleave, and continue auto-attacking until they're dead. In lane, you're good for ganking. You're not good for sitting in lane, so look to roam around, try and find kills that way. Once you're into a team fight, it's very important not to go in immediately. You are the opposite of an initiator. You want to wait until your enemy has burned all of their big spells, especially lockdown and nukes, and get all of those on cooldown, and then you go in. You go for the one target that you think you can kill quickly and get out, and then you keep repeating that. You keep waiting for things to be on cooldown, waiting for focus to be elsewhere, and then going in when they can't lock you down. Because if they lock you down, you're going to die. You really need to be careful about that. And then you just keep repeating that until the fight devolves, everyone's running around, everything's very disorganized, and that's where you really excel, because you just blink around killing people, and there's not much they can do about it on their own.
All right, so now that we know how to play Zeratul, how do we take him out?
It's a bit of a judgment call, but oftentimes you can actually just stand and kill him. Everyone's afraid of him, so they tend to run away, and then he just does all his damage and you end up dying. But unless you are like a Nova, someone who really doesn't want to stand and fight, chances are if you can survive the burst, you can probably kill him, especially if you have any teammates nearby and they can come join you. The biggest thing is just knowing whether or not he can burst you down immediately, because he falls off pretty significantly after that. In teamfights, it kind of depends on your role, but you just need to make sure that whoever your tanky, utility, support kind of hero is, make sure that he holds on to his lockdown spells until the Zeratul actually appears. Tell him to just sit on your carries and wait for the Zeratul to show up, and then you immediately stun him, and the team focuses him down, and that's it. It really just requires coordination. He's not super strong unless you're very spread out, and he can find the targets that he wants to pick out without getting attacked himself.
Okay.
And there you have it, guys. But remember, this is our best way to play, and we want to hear yours in the comments.
Be sure to head over to Greg's Twitch channel for more pro tips, and for everything Heroes of the Storm, stay tuned to IGN.